So who is the strongest, most amazing superhero you can imagine? Well, maybe it's these guys. Or maybe it's these guys. Or maybe even these guys. So what does a superhero even do anyway? Oh yeah, superheroes save people who are in trouble. So today we are going to learn about the biggest, strongest, most amazing superhero you have ever heard of. So let's jump into the Big God story and let's find out who it is.
It's time for the Big God story! Yay!
Remember last week, Joseph and his family came to Egypt to live, and they lived there for lots and lots of years. And his family kept on growing and growing and growing. Well, the Bible says in the book of Exodus in chapter 1 that a new pharaoh became leader of Egypt, and he didn't remember that Joseph had been such a good friend to Egypt. Pharaoh was actually afraid that if the Hebrew families kept on growing, then he wouldn't be able to control them. So he made God's people become his slaves. They had to work very hard for Pharaoh, and he treated them really badly. Here, take a look.
A man from the Levi tribe married a woman from the same tribe, and she later had a baby boy. He was a beautiful child, and she kept him inside for 3 months. But when she could no longer keep him hidden, she made a basket out of reeds and covered it with tar. She put him in the basket and placed it in the tall grass along the edge of the Nile River. The baby's older sister stood off at a distance to see what would happen to him. About that time, one of the king's daughters came down to take a bath in the river, while her servant woman walked along the riverbank. She saw the basket in the grass and sent one of the young women to pull it out of the water. When the king's daughter opened the basket, she saw the baby and felt sorry for him because he was crying. She said, "This must be one of the Hebrew babies." At once, the baby's older sister came up and asked, "Do you want me to go get a Hebrew woman to take care of the baby for you?" "Yes," the king's daughter answered. So the girl brought the baby's mother, and the king's daughter told her, "Take care of this child, and I will pay you." The baby's mother carried him home and took care of him. When he was old enough, she took him to the king's daughter, who adopted him. She named him Moses, because she said, "I pulled him out of the water."
So did you figure out who's the biggest, strongest, most amazing superhero? Was it Moses? No, Moses was just a tiny little baby. He couldn't do anything to save himself. Just like us. We can't do anything to save ourselves from sin. We need a superhero too, don't we? So now can you figure out who is the biggest, strongest, most amazing superhero ever? That's right. It's God. God saved Moses. God made sure Moses was safe in the basket. God made sure that the princess was at the river at just the right time so she could see and hear baby Moses. God made sure Moses could stay with his mom and dad until it was time for him to live in the palace with the princess. Now, when Moses grew up, he became a man who loved and obeyed God. God had a plan to use Moses to lead his people out of Egypt toward the land that he had promised them. Well, in this new land, they would be free. They wouldn't have to be slaves for Pharaoh anymore. Well, just like God saved Moses, God saves us too. God sent Jesus, the rescuer, to save us, to lead us, and to teach us how to live. So that's it for today. I'll see you next week for Remember and Celebrate. All right, bye.